we doing today, Anchor? Hey, if you're joining us online, welcome. We're glad you're with us. Welcome to Anchor Church. And man, Comfort, you killed it up here today. You did so good. At the Soul Sisters worship night, Comfort got up, did announcements and everything. We're like, well, you just got a new job. Oh my gosh, we're so glad you're with us. And man, it's gonna be a great week. Happy Thanksgiving early to y'all. And man, I'm so glad you're here today. It's gonna be a great Sunday. I'm wrapping up my series on how to annoy my family. Anybody been annoying their family just by a show of hands? Anyone gonna annoy the heck out of your family on Thursday, just unintentionally, but you know what's gonna happen, you know. Hey, real quick before I jump in, I've been telling y'all about our totally awesome volunteer Christmas fiesta. The fiesta, because at Anchor, we don't do parties. We do fiestas. So if you're serving on any type of a ministry team here at Anchor, December 3rd, make sure you're a part of that. It's gonna be a great night. People go, are we gonna come that night and serve? No, you're gonna come that night and be served. It's gonna be good, I can't wait. I'll be serving dinner, dancing, it's gonna be fire. With a name like Fiesta, you know. Whew. So maybe you're not serving in a ministry, you're like, how do I go? Sign up today, sign up today. Just stand at the door and greet somebody and come December 3rd. That's how easy it is. It's that easy, just that easy. Who's ready for week 3? Wrapping up this series, How to Annoy Your Family. And man, y'all, this has been an interesting series. I told Teresa, I thought this would be one of those series that everyone would be like, oh, we're talking about the family. But man, everyone has really engaged in the series. And next week I'm gonna do a one-hit wonder on what I'm thankful for, ... I'm gonna take a different take on it. I'm excited to preach it. And then I'm gonna start our Christmas series. How interesting is that Christmas series? Like, we're right around the corner from Christmas, holy cow. And I'm doing a series on the 3 gifts the wise men brought. And I've never preached on it before, but each week, one week will be gold, one week will be frankincense, and one week will be myrrh. And I'm thinking week 1, we're just gonna give out gold to people, so make sure you don't miss it. Anything to get him here, baby, anything to get him here. But no, but is he serious? I don't know. Come, I don't know, find out, I don't know. TiVo got excited, he's like, oh, mama, and I love this church. But we're wrapping up our series, How to Annoy Your Family. Now, this is what I know about this series. When we started the series, for many of us, you kind of came in and maybe you thought to yourself, I don't know about this series, Shaun, because I've lost all hope in my family. I've lost hope in my marriage. I've lost hope with my kids. I've lost hope with my aunts and uncles, I've lost hope. And the whole point behind this series was to give you some hope of what it could look like. Maybe you don't have hope in what it is, but imagine if you and I took it personally and decided we were gonna help do what we could do in the family to bring hope into what looked like a hopeless situation. And this has been our theme verses, Ephesians chapter 5, and it says, imitate God, therefore, in everything you do. And I had that underlined and highlighted because in everything you do, because typically we show everybody love and compassion and kindness. We show everyone encouragement except for our family. In everything you do, because you are his dear children. Live a life filled with love, following the example of Christ. He loved us and offered himself as a sacrifice for us, a pleasing aroma to God. I was thinking about this life filled with love all week. And I was writing this sermon, I thought to myself this, Shaun, you live a life full of love. Like I was thinking, I do. I was feeling like Jesus Jr. one day, you know what I mean? Like I just thought, I do. And then I thought, I show love to everybody, except the people I don't love. And like, do you know what I realized? I realized I show love to everybody except for the drivers on the road that I don't want to show love to. Just like, is it like confession's good for the soul? Can we just, I'm having one of those days last week. I'm working on my sermon and I'm preaching and to myself, and I'm going, live a life filled with love. Because if you're full of love, the only thing that's able to come out of you is love. If you've got any hatred, bitterness, resentment, rage, if it's any of that in you, it will be the first to come out and surpass the love. But if you're full of love, then love is the only thing that comes out. So I'm thinking to myself, Shaun, you're so full of love. It just pours out of you. It just oozes all over Teresa. Like she can't get away from it. And we had a Tuesday night, they had their Soul Sisters worship night. We had an elders meeting, and so I go pick up, and I'm preaching to myself. I'm thinking, Shaun, you're so full of love to everybody. You're just so full of love. And I pick up dinner. I'm taking it back to my house for our elders meeting, and I'm just like the food was late. And I'm preaching to myself, Shaun, you love everybody. You know, you go through those moments. It's like, it seems like when you think you're full of love, it's when the most hateful things happen. And I'm like, no, I'm not gonna get mad. There's a reason. I'm gonna love them. Here's more of a tip. God bless you. Because I'm full of it. And then I'm driving, and where we live, I'm coming out of the place where the restaurant is. I'm coming out, and there's traffic backed up because it was rush hour. And I left a space between the 3 cars in front of me. I left space so that people turning in would have a place to turn, because I'm thinking, that's loving. I'm like, you're so loving, Shaun. Jesus will be proud. And I see this car come from the side, and I'm sitting here for probably 45 seconds, and I see this car pull up very close to the space I'm giving. You know what I'm saying? And you see the scenario playing through, and I see it, and I go, no. Do you know when you look at the driver, but they don't look at you, but you're like, I know what you're thinking, but that's not the right move. No. I'm being Jesus. I'm giving space for people to know. And sure enough, traffic starts moving, and he cuts right in front of me. And I've been telling myself I'm so full of love.
We hope this message really impacted you. I love there's so many takeaways each week that we can.
Bro, I laid on my horn, bang, like so, and then like so mad. And then he turned out, and I went behind, and I still honked. I felt better. And then he got over to do a U-turn. I got behind him, and I kept honking because. So I didn't even tell you, I'm repenting right now. This is confession's gift for the soul, baby. I'm getting all of it out of me to be filled back up with love. And I thought to myself, what if he goes to our church? What if he's here today? And so I laid off the horn, and if you are here today, you need Jesus. And but what's funny is I thought to myself, like I was telling myself, I love everybody except for them. And I thought, isn't it interesting? We do the same thing. And I read this scripture for the last 3 weeks, and you think to yourselves, I show love to everybody. And then we go into Thanksgiving week, and we're with our family, and we say, I love everybody except for them. Because the ones that take most of the brunt of relationship is the ones closest to us, which is family. I can treat someone I don't know with more contempt than I can treat a family member. And Paul says in Ephesians chapter 5, in everything you do, live a life overflowing with love. Even the family members that drive you nuts, love them. Shaun, you know how hard that is? Absolutely. But what this series is bringing us hope. And I talked week 1 about changes that will shock your family. When you begin to live that life, they're gonna go, what in the world happened? They'll see the changes. Last week I talked about how you and I need to be the solution in the family, because you can control you. You can't control them, but you can control you. So be the solution in your family. This week I wanna talk about the fact that God can heal your family's pain. He can. Because many of us walked in here today and what we thought is this, Shaun, nothing can fix the pain that's been caused in my family. Wrong, my friend, God can. If he can fix cancer in a body, he can fix dissension in a family. He can. He can. The question is not can he, the question is will you let him? Now, a couple things. Let me share this with you. The truth about pain is this. Pain is universal and pain is unavoidable. Thanks, Shaun. Great way to start a message. God bless you. The truth is, everybody goes through pain and everybody will go through pain, go through hurt, go through anger, tempers. It's universal and it's unavoidable. It just will happen. But here's what I want to tell you. I want to give you a couple caution signs. Because even though it's universal and unavoidable, there are some caution signs, things that cause pain in families. I thought about it this week, that if I give you, think about like there's a construction zone ahead. You ever drive on the road and you see like 3 miles down the road, construction, and you get closer, and people know for 3 miles that the road's gonna merge, but for some reason, they wait and cut you off at the last second? Oh, there I go again. I love them. There were warning signs. You just chose to ignore them. So now everyone else has to get ticked off because you ignore. But what happens, church, if you and I saw some warning signs of pain early on, that maybe we could eventually maybe see that, and even though it's universal and unavoidable, we might be able to dampen the impact of what happens in the family. So let me talk about some ways that we see pain. The first cause of pain, I think, is this. I think it's disrespect. Disrespect. You know what disrespect is? It's the attitude of rebellion. It hasn't come out in action yet, but it's the attitude. That's where it gives seed. It's disrespect. It's disrespect. Here's what we say to ourselves: they deserve it. Well, my mom did this, my dad did, my sibling, my cousin did. They deserve it. It starts with the attitude. It starts with the attitude. Anyone ever had a family member say to you, you need an attitude adjustment? That's like, I think I heard my dad say that every single day of my life. Shaun, I know, I need an attitude adjustment. What he's saying is, it hasn't gone into full-blown action yet, but the attitude is there to give seed to the rebellion that's about to come. And do you know how many families have pain just because of the attitude of a rebellion? They deserve it. They deserve what's coming to them. And my dad would always say, an attitude adjustment. What does that mean? It means if if the brakes are going out on your car, you want to catch the brakes before you have to get brakes pads and rotors. If you let it go too long, it costs a whole lot more money because you're just not getting pads. You're getting pads and rotors because you waited too long and ignored the warning sign. If the disrespect is hitting you, you can't fix everyone else, but you can fix you. So you fix the attitude of rebellion and stop saying they deserve it. It happens. So the first warning sign is disrespect. Second is disobedience. Disrespect is the attitude of rebellion. Disobedience is the action of rebellion. It's not they deserve it, it's now they'll see it. The disrespect gives birth to the action. Because if you think it too long and you don't get rid of the disrespect, it moves into the action of disobedience. They deserve it, now I'll show them. I can remember when I was a kid, maybe in middle school, high school, and I was frustrated at my mom because she was making me do things I didn't want to do. And so you have the attitude of rebellion. Because dad wasn't around, the attitude moved into action. And mom says to me, I need you to do this. And I said, I'm not gonna do it. And I didn't know my dad was listening. And I grew up in a different house. We didn't have, my dad didn't believe in timeout. My dad believed in getting knocked out. My dad believed on the laying on of hands. Yeah, so my dad would say, what just happened? And I was like, oh, I was kidding. What happened was the disrespect, the attitude moved into action, and this is where the pain comes in. Many of us in our family, and maybe for many of us, the disobedience you have in your family, it's not so much that you talk back to somebody, it went deeper. You ran away. You escaped it. You moved in with somebody else. You disobeyed what you knew was right because you felt like they deserve the action of rebellion, and I'll show it to them. This is where addictions and this is where all these things kind of give birth, because what you know, you're so frustrated with the attitude, let me put it into effect. So you have disrespect and you have disobedience. Here's the third. The third warning, I don't want to say it's a warning sign. The first two are warning signs. The third, I think, pain that happens in families is not a lot that we can't avoid, but it happens, but you can be aware of it. It's disrespect, disobedience, and the third is distrust. Distrust means something happened to you that you didn't deserve, but because it happened to you, you feel like I deserve it. Maybe you were cheated on, maybe you were abused, maybe it was physical, maybe it was sexual, and what we tell ourselves is, I must have deserved it, but my friend, you don't deserve it. There's never abuse that you deserve, nothing you did to warrant that. But many families are broken because of disrespect, disobedience, and distrust. And so because something happened to you against your will, you distrust family, but you distrust everybody. You can't even allow yourself to get close to God because he may burn you like everyone else has. And we put all the problem on us because we feel like I can't fix it. Now, let me tell you, the reason why we have pain in family, the reason why there's distrust, there's disobedience and disrespect is sin. Capital S, sin. Now I'm gonna clarify this because somebody's sitting there and like, Shaun, do you mean like my dad has cancer because of my sin? No, I'm not saying because of your sin, I'm saying because of sin. When God created, everything was perfect. Perfect. When Adam and Eve sinned, guess what? There was pain now associated. I told you a couple weeks ago, there was pain in childbirth that wouldn't have been there otherwise. Now Adam, who didn't have to work the ground, now had to work the ground. There's pain involved. There wasn't death before, now there's death involved. You see, sin caused pain. And Shaun, cancer at the cellular level, pain is caused because of sin. Not because of your sin, but because of sin. Shaun, my parents are getting a divorce. Is it because of me? It's not because of your sin. It's because of sin. Lack of forgiveness. No hope. That all stems from the fact that there is sin in the world and rebellion is huge. Hard hearts. It all happens. You can't control your family, but you can control your attitude and you can't control your actions. And if we know that this is unavoidable and it's universal, if we can look at the warning signs, this Thanksgiving, this holiday season, we might be able to help correct some things before they get definitely out of alignment. We got to check our attitude and check our actions. Well, Shaun, this has been depressing. This is a great way to wrap up the series. God bless you. I wanted to give you the bad news first. Because there is hope for your family. Because many of you, for the last 15 minutes, I just painted the picture of your family right now. You're like, oh, dear Jesus, that's me. But no matter where you are on your spiritual journey, no matter where your family is, can I tell you there is hope? There's hope for your family. How do you know, Shaun? Well, because I know that God cares more about your pain than you do. God cares way more about your pain than you care about your pain. 2 Corinthians, Paul says this, all praise to God, the Father of our Lord Jesus Christ. God is our merciful Father and source of all comfort. Somebody say comfort. I want you to see how many times Paul says God's our comfort. He comforts us in all our troubles so that we can comfort others. So when they're troubled, we will be able to give them the same comfort God has given. God is comfort. He's comfort. You know that thing that you have on your bed that you pull up over your neck is called a comforter. Why? Because you're cold at night and you go, I just need this comfort. I feel so good under the comfort. The Bible says that that God is our comforter. He cares more about your pain than you do. It's a comfort. Have you ever seen a little kid, a little toddler that falls over and gets hurt, trips, bangs their head, smacks their hand, whatever, and when they jump up, anybody around tries to comfort them, but they don't want just anybody, they want mom or dad. You know what I'm talking about? Like you try to console them and they're just like smacking you like, no, dad. You know what I'm talking about? There's something innate in our DNA that tells us when we get hurt, I need mom, I need dad. I need a parent. And what happens the older we get is we get less dependent on them and more dependent on us. But I really believe God created in us this DNA, this ability to when you get hurt and when you have pain, go, I need God. I need my comfort. But because of our rebellion, because of our sin, because of our distrust, because of our disobedience, because of our disrespect, we go, no, God, I got this one. And so because of that, we don't, let me say it like this. You've heard of church hopping? People, like they can't find what they want at one church, so they go to multiples. Let me say it like this. Many of us have been heel hopping. You're heel hopping. And here's the problem. You're not getting healing, you're getting helping. Jesus did not come to help you, he came to heal you. And so we go, I don't know what's happening. This isn't working with my spouse. I'm gonna go see if I can find it with someone else. Wrong, heel hopping. This isn't working here, so I'm gonna keep working different businesses until you're heel hopping. It won't work, it's helping. It's coping. It's not correcting. And so what happens is we heel hop. We don't go to God, and the Bible says he's the only one that can heal. Do you know this has been going on since the beginning of time? And this is like God is just wanting to heal us. He cares more about your pain than you do. And here's the second thing I know is that God can heal every wound. Somebody say every wound. Because here's what he's saying, but not mine, Shaun, it's too deep. No, God can heal every wound. He's a God of healing. If you look back in the Old Testament, when God created Adam and Eve sinned, Adam and Eve went and hid. The Bible says they sewed together fig leaves to create coverings for themselves, and God immediately shows up on the scene to heal what they broke. If you look a little further in the Old Testament, you'll find that God's chosen people, the Israelites, enslaved in Egypt 400 years, and God hears the cries of his people because he wants to bring them out of pain into a better life. We continue to move forward into the New Testament, and you see there is Jesus that came to heal us. What did Jesus do? He healed. And many of them go, that's the story of the Bible. Jesus healed. No, my friend, that's the appetizer to what he really came to do. He came to heal. No, he came to save your life. The healing was just the appetizer to the cherry on top, which is the salvation of mankind. That's what it was all about. And Jesus, in Matthew chapter 4, he traveled throughout the region of Galilee, teaching in the synagogues and announcing the good news about the kingdom, and he healed what? Nothing's too big for our God. He can't heal my marriage. Yes, he can. He can't heal my kids. Yes, he can. He can't heal the fighting that, yes, he can. The question is not will he, the question is will you allow him to? Do we have faith that it can happen? Maybe it's gone too far, I understand, but maybe allow God to try to bring it back. He can heal. He cares about it more than you do, and he can heal every kind. Here's the great thing about Jesus. Jesus not only can heal you now, he can heal you for eternity. Look what it says here in 2 Corinthians. That means that anyone who belongs to Christ has become a new person. Somebody say new person. Old life is gone, new life has come. Do you know what many of us think that God does? We think that when we give our hearts to Jesus Christ, he patches us up. He doesn't patch you up, he picks you up and makes you brand new. When I was a kid, we didn't have a whole lot of money, so if our jeans got holes in them, we didn't go buy new jeans, my mom put patches over them. Which is why when I was growing up and the holes in the jeans started becoming popular, my grandma would be like, do you mean to sew those, honey? No. Paid for these, baby. Paid for these. But my mom would patch them. You know, we didn't have a lot of money growing up, so if my pants got too short, my mom would let out the hem and make the pants longer, and you had this big, like, kind of hem. You know what I'm saying? So I think that many of us feel like when we give our hearts to Jesus Christ, he can fix everybody but me. He just patches me. He just patches my heart. He just patches my brokenness. But my Bible doesn't say he patches you, he heals you. He makes you brand new. How crazy is that? So many of us right now, the problem in our family, if we're honest, is us. But good news, he can heal you. Maybe what you need going into the holidays is a new heart. Well, will God just patch up my own one? No. He gives you a brand new one. How good is that? After I got so mad at that guy and I honked my horn at him, I was like, Jesus, thank you for making me new. Make me new right now. Get rid of that heart of rage. I don't want that. That's not me. He can give that. Maybe some of you right now are going, I don't know what's happening. It's not me. I know it's not. It's rebellion. It's sin. It's crept in because of distrust and disrespect and disobedience. But guess what? You can get rid of that by saying yes to a new life. Maybe you gave your heart to Jesus Christ. Good news. Today's the day of repentance and going, God, I know I repented and gave you my heart, and I went back to going my old way. So I repent again and I go a new way today. The old me is gone. The new me is here to stay. It's the commitment. So maybe what you and I need to do is maybe we need to rewrite our role in the family dynamics. Because maybe you're going, Shaun, this series has been great for me, but I really wish my family was here because they need to hear that because they need to get fixed. I've invited all my family this weekend because they need to hear this to get fixed. What's happened is we've taken all the focuses of what we can fix and what we can do and what God can rewrite and put it all on what they need to fix and what they need to rewrite. But I want to talk for a few minutes about what you and I need to rewrite. Because maybe the healing in our family starts with us. Maybe God can heal the family, but maybe the dynamics of us have been so frustrating and so manipulative that it's been hard, but we can change that today. How do we rewrite this? Here's the first thing. You got to draw near to God. Stop heel hopping and thinking that you can do what you can't do. You need to draw near to God. I was telling the team this morning that I have two of my favorite stories in the whole Bible. Are my first all-time favorite story I love to preach on is when this man was born blind and Jesus and the disciples walked by, and back then they believed if you had some kind of an ailment or a disease or something wrong with you that it was because of your sin. And so the disciples said, was this man born blind because of his sin or because of his parents' sin? And Jesus basically says, Shaun Blakeney paraphrase, he wasn't born blind because of his sin. He was born blind because I'm gonna rock his world right now and do a miracle in his life that nobody can say I didn't do. And so here's what's crazy. Jesus hocks a loogie, which is my favorite part of the story, because you imagine being blind and hearing, and you're like, what? And then Jesus spit and makes mud pies, puts them on the guy's eyes, and the guy can see. My favorite story in the whole Bible, which, by the way, maybe you're here today and you've been spiritually blind. Can I tell you, he's the only one. Second favorite story, Luke chapter 8. This guy named Jairus, Jesus gets off a boat. This guy named Jairus comes to Jesus, and he has a 12-year-old daughter. He says, Jesus, come heal my daughter. She's deathly ill. Nothing can, or ill, whatever you want to do. So she's deathly ill. And so Jesus, come heal her. And while Jesus is going to heal Jairus' 12-year-old daughter, a woman who had the issue of blood hemorrhaging for 12 years, which, by the way, if you're bleeding, that means people couldn't be around her. She couldn't be around the temple. She couldn't worship. She was a social distance from her family. And so she fights her way through the crowd because she thinks to herself, if I can just touch the hem of his garment, I'll be healed. And look what it says, Mark chapter 5. Then she heard about Jesus, and she came up behind him through the crowd, and she touched his robe. For she thought, if I could just touch him, if I could just draw near to him, If I could just get close to him. And what's crazy is so many of us need healing, personal healing, and you're so far away from Jesus, you can't get it. You gotta get close. You gotta get close. Our God is an all-consuming fire, and what's incredible of the things in your life that you just hate, that you just want to get rid of, you get close enough, and those things just burn away. I've told you guys before that Teresa and we have a French bulldog, Phantom. I guess he's maybe 3 years old, and he loves our fireplace. I have a picture. Look. It's an electric fireplace, and right now it's broken. We're trying to get it fixed. It's been broken for months, and he is distraught. We just say fire. He runs. I don't know, because he didn't have a lot of fur. I don't know, but he sticks his face up in the heat of the fire. And so we just finally put his bed in front of it. But it's been broken, and he was like shaking the other day, and so I pulled out the little portable heater, and he just laid right in front of the portable heater. I thought, lessons you can learn from your dog. When homeboy is cold, he just knows he's got to get close to the fire. James says, draw near to God and he will draw near to you. Draw near to God. Second thing is you got to draw near to God, and then you have to discover God's plan for your life. Because here's what many of us are living. Right now there's pain in the family because you've tried to live your plan for your life. But God has a plan for you. You know what the plan God has for your life is? Respect, honor, love, encouragement, kindness. Well, if they would just fix, no, if you would just listen to God. If you just follow his plan, but they deserve it, I understand. But you deserve hell, and so do I. I'm so glad God doesn't think like we do. Jesus, I'm gonna go, I need you to go down there and save them. Oh no, but they deserve it. No, you got a plan, God. This is my plan. I know what God, I know what you have. No, God has a plan. For I know the plans for you, says the Lord, plans to prosper you, to give you not in my family, no, plans to give you hope. Hope. God has a plan for your life. Understand it. Understand that God's plan for you is to not live in stress with your family, in anger, in rage, in your marriage with your kids. That's not his plan. So you fix what God's plan is for you. What is that plan? It's to love. It's to show respect. It's to speak encouragement. But Shaun, you don't understand. I understand I don't know what they did. I understand, but I know what you can do. Draw near to God. He'll give you the power to do it. I have no idea how I'm going to say a kind word. Get close to God. He'll let you. He'll let you. And here's the third thing. Don't give up. Here's what's going to happen. We're going to go into Thanksgiving and Christmas, all excited about this sermon. I'm going to show them. You walk in, I love you, I love you, I love you. You even know right now. I don't want to be hugged. Come here, Aunt Cindy. You're getting them. And then they're all gonna get and you're gonna go, didn't work. Don't give up. Just, come on, stand to your feet. Let me close with this. I just read a story this week about a lady who lived in California. She was a swimmer, wanted to set the world record from swimming from Long Beach to Catalina. It's 26 miles. Long Beach, cold waters, infested with great whites. And so she just trained and trained. So she decided, I'm gonna go to Long Beach, Catalina. I'm gonna swim, shark-infested waters, cold waters, 26 miles, 29 miles, something like that. And so what they did was, because it was shark-infested waters, they had two boats that drove side by side, and in the middle, they had a shark cage that was tethered to each boat, and she swam in the shark cage in between two boats at her speed so the sharks couldn't get her. So 2 hours into which by the way, 2 hours into the swim. I don't want to drive 2 hours. She's swimming. Water's getting colder. It's getting late. And sharks start hitting the cage. She's getting rattled, no pun intended. She's getting rattled. So she starts getting fearful, but she keeps pushing. But the sharks smell the fear, and more sharks, great white, start coming, and they start coming after her. And so she's just 2 more hours, she's going, but she finally says, the fog is getting heavy, water's getting colder, more sharks are coming around her. She goes, I gotta give up. And the guys in the boat said, don't do it, don't. She goes, I gotta give up, pull me in, pull me in, pull me in. Don't do it. I can't see, the fog's too strong, these sharks are freaking me out, I can't do it. Don't do it, don't give up, don't give up. So she climbs in the boat. She stands on the front of the boat. The fog begins to lift, and she was 100 yards away. 100 yards away from a world record. Here's what the Lord told me when I read that story. Many of us today, you feel like you're going into the holidays in shark-infested waters. Your family's a bunch of great whites. And you're gonna sit there at the dinner table, sit around family. The fog is beginning to come in. It's gonna get cold, and you're gonna feel. And it's at that point in time that you're gonna wanna go, ain't worth it. But you're 100 yards away from what could be hope brought into something you thought could never be healed. Come on, let's bow our heads. You know, it's crazy. We're in this family series, this relationship series, and I can't think of any better way to wrap this series up than by giving you an opportunity to join the family of God. Because what I know is on your own, you can't make it. You go from help to help, but what you really need is not more help. What you need is healing. Jesus came to heal you, to forgive you of your sins, to make you a brand new person. Maybe you're joining us in this room. Maybe you're joining us online. You've never said yes to Jesus, and you want him to come in and make you new, not patch you up, but pick you up and make you new. And there's a prayer that we pray that allows Jesus to come into our heart and change us. And with every head bowed, if you would be bold enough to say, Shaun, yes, I want to pray that prayer to let Jesus come into my life and change me, radically change me from the inside out. I want you to raise your hand on the count of 3. If you're joining us online or in this room, just raise your hand and be bold. 1, 2, 3. Just raise your hand. Yeah, awesome. Raise it up high. Yeah, awesome, awesome, awesome. Yeah, awesome, 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 awesome. We're all gonna pray this prayer out loud together, but if you raised your hands in this room or online, you just say it a little bit louder. Come on, all of us lift our hands together. Just say, Dear Lord Jesus, I'm surrendered to you. I'm giving you my life. I need healing from the inside out. Forgive me of my sins and make me brand new. And I'm gonna follow you the rest of my life. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Come on, Anchor, let's celebrate.